Right, welcome back. Another quite exciting day actually. I've been shopping. I've been to a couple of shops, but after much deliberation I came to the conclusion that it was probably better to replace the panels that had 3 or 4 bits of damage on them. I've been to a couple of shops. I've obviously been to Moss down in Bristol, very helpful down there. I've also found a lovely chap at Sports Car Metal up at Ivor in Bucks, and both of them have been very, very good. It's resulted in a few purchases. You'll remember how bad that rear left inner wing was. Dented at the back, split at the side, split halfway along, eaten away at the front. I actually thought it would be easier to purchase a new wing. So these, again, very expensive panels, but I thought, all things considered, it's probably better to perhaps put that on the rear left. Moss have also supplied a front repair panel for the right front inner wing. So again, we'll have some metal there. Looks like that can probably be welded on quite nicely. We've also got from Moss a rear lower front wing repair panel. This was all full of holes, so I thought actually it'd be far easier to buy a new panel and pop that in. So that looks pretty good. And then probably the most amazing bit for the front part of the headlight is this thing. So this came from Sports Car Metals, and they do, I think, a larger selection of parts than I can find on the Moss site. So the initial option was perhaps just to use one of their repair sections for this front lower part of the front wing, but then thinking about this section and how flimsy all this was, it was deemed perhaps to go for the medium section to replace all of that. So we've got a nice solid front end. There are also sections that come further back and even further back, so there are a whole selection of bits they do at Sports Car Metal, really depending on what you need. If you remember before, we looked at the rust damage on the, so this is the offside rear inner wing, very eaten away at the back and around the back end. Not too bad at the front. There is obviously a little bit of welding to do around the front just to reattach it to this bit, whether this bit just needs replacing. But these inner wing panels are hideously expensive. I think the whole panel, if you buy the whole panel, it's retailing presently at around about 800 quid. But you kind of get to see why. It's a very complicated piece of metal with lots of bends and twists. So what I've done here is, again, made a little bit of a compromise. We've bought a rear repair panel for the rear end, so complete with all the captive nuts, and I'm hoping that might be a slightly more sensible repair, because these actual sections aren't nearly as expensive as the whole wing. So hopefully that's a sensible thing to do. But saying that, I can see why the ladies get so excited when they find a bargain in the sales. I got this whole rear wing on eBay for actually not much more than just the rear section on the opposite side. So again, these panels are hideously expensive. They're retailing at £700–800. I'm not sure if that's with or without VAT. But I got this one for just over 100, so I thought I'll grab that. So whether we replace the whole thing, or again whether we can just take sections off it to replace the worst sections It doesn't matter now, because this section we can actually pick and choose what we want off this one. And then of course we've got that new rear wing to go on the top or on the outside once all that's been sorted. So I'm actually pretty happy with that. When I first spoke to Greg, he pretty much was going to throw the front valance out on Wifo. So thankfully I've got a new front valance from Moss, so we definitely needed that. I've got new front and rear wing fixing kits, courtesy of Moss. And then Sports Car Metal up at Iver have supplied a new straight radiator duct panel, which is very nice. I've bought 2 new brackets to replace the 2 rusted ones in there. Sports Car Metal also do the front inner wing sections. Again, they make a whole range of almost tiny little bits you need just to replace odd bits. So they've been a bit of a find. So they're on order, as is the front chassis extension. So hopefully when the body goes back and the front inner wing repair sections have turned up, we've got new panels, a new radiator ducting panel to replace the slightly bent one from obviously a previous front end impact, and I've got a new front valance fixing strip, which obviously will go under there. So that's all quite nice. So that'll all sort out the front end. The bit I'm most pleased about, I've got one of them, the other one's coming, but you'll remember on the near side how bad the front valance was. So again, what they've got at Sports Car Metal is again one of their pieces. So I mean, this is a phenomenal thing. I mean, how they make this, I have no idea, but they've been making parts since the 70s for these cars. So this actually replaces the part here, and presumably you can chop off what you don't need or fit it in to the new wing. And as I say, we've got the captive bolts on the front part of the inner wings already, so hopefully these little holes are where they line up with the captive nuts. But I'm really pleased that we've been able to again find something to replace the front part of the valance. So the one for the offside is on its way, so that is a bit of a find. Thank you to Sports Car Metal. They've also supplied these shields. I didn't even know these were on the car actually. Splashbacks, I think he said they attach onto here, but I wasn't even aware of these being here on the other car. Maybe I've got that the wrong way around. So I bought a couple of those because we didn't have them. Here's the splash panel for the near side. I bought the steel ones. They do aluminium. And then I'm just waiting for the repair section for the front valance to arrive to sort all this out. So I think this actually was the worst bit of the car. This was the bit I was actually really most disheartened about when I first picked it up. But yeah, that's all looking rather promising now. And then to replace the where the pedal box and the heater sit, again got this from Moss, so heaven knows how that goes in there. But again, got a new panel there, so that's all good. So I'm hoping with all the new parts I've actually made a compromise between the parts that can actually be repaired economically versus the time and effort it takes to actually repair the worst of the repairs, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping that we've made a sensible choice here in our purchases, and hopefully now we can get little Wifo up to the welders and get on with the next part of this roller coaster. Thank you for watching.